All right. So, yesterday we took a look at introducing you to what happens when you have inventory, right? And you are making your purchases, but at the same time returning or getting some allowances, right? So, this is where
Right.
we occupy the entire worksheet, and we also include what happens when you have beginning inventory. So in this case, we yesterday we completely finished FIFO, okay, and this is what we did yesterday. So again, I'm gonna start eliminating the colors because it's actually really you don't actually necessarily need them, just because if you are able to keep the lines in order, that already tells you exactly which batches came first and which batches came last. So in this case, no, we're going to eliminate the colors for the next section here. So in this case, we're going to be moving on to question number 5, which is your inventory method is periodic and it is LIFO this time. And it says assume that all purchases were made on an account, and round to the nearest penny. Now in this case, like I mentioned, I'm not going to have you practice um, journalizing because it's rinse and repeat. Purchase expense, freight expense, and accounts payable, right? And then when you return your items, accounts payable, purchase returns, and allowances. It's all the same. Only difference is the numbers are what's different. So in this case, we've already practiced it multiple times throughout this week. We just practiced it yesterday. And so now today it's just only purely, strictly just plugging in our numbers into the inventory worksheet and figuring out how the math is being calculated in here, okay? So in this case, August 5th, you purchased 1,200 toys at $1 each, costing you, with the freight costing you $50. Okay, so 1,200 at $1. So question 5 here. All right, so it is August 5th, 1,200, $1 each, and $50 freight. Okay. All right. So, what's my purchase price here?
It'll be 1,200.
1,200 plus 50 will give me a total cost of.
1,250.
Okay. Now, because we're using LIFO, I have to calculate my cost per item because I have to keep my batches separate once again. So in this case, $12.50 divided by 1,200 will give me. Okay, so 12.50 divided by
A
1,200.
dollar, $1.04.
Okay. It's actually $1.4167. Okay, let's see what happened next. Then August 7th, you end up returning 200 of those toys. They were the wrong color and you were willing to accept a 20% discount. So the 200 toys were the wrong color, but you were willing to accept a 20% discount. So in this case, I only have one batch of inventory. So this one's easy, straightforward. Did I return any of the product?
From the last inventory.
Yeah, so in this case, it said that 200 of them were the wrong color, but I was willing to accept a 20% discount.
So you returned in 200.
Well, are you?
Not really. No.
No, but you're accepting
A
the
discount.
inventory and accepting the discount. Because in this case, if you're going to return the product, then you're obligated to get a full refund.
Right.
Okay, so in this case, no, you're not returning any of the product. But what was the cost per item, just so that we can keep track of it?
$1.
It was $1 each. Now, if I'm returning 200 units at $1, and I'm going to accept a 20% discount off of that, how much is my allowance for?
You said 200 times 117.
That is me cell referencing. I'm clicking on the dollar, which is in cell I-17.
Oh, okay. I'll be so glad when my new glasses come in next week. Okay.
It'd be $40. Good. So remember, you're only getting a portion of the money back that you're refunding the product back for, right? Not the whole entire batch, right? You don't get 20% for things that they sent that was correct. Okay. So in this case, right, now that I know that I end up getting a partial refund on the product, I need to build my goods available table. Okay. Okay. And what this is going to represent is, well, did I end up returning any of the products here? So in
No.
this case, no. So therefore, I'm still at 1,200 units. However, I end up getting a refund because 200 of those units were paid at a discounted price. So in this case, right, I need to adjust my total cost because I no longer owe $12.50, right?
Right.
Because I got $40 back out of it. So in this case, I owe $12.10. Okay.
Right.
Now in this case, since I have that, the question is, what is my new cost per item? Because now I have a new total cost that I have to spread across 1,200 units. Right? I no longer owe $12.50, I owe $12.10. So I have to adjust the cost per item now. $1? It's actually dollar.
1 cent.
Okay. It's $1.8333. So in this case, yes, it's roughly $1, but if you're rounding up, right, you lose out about what 0.15% of 0.15 cents. So every 1,000 that you sell, you could potentially lose $1.50 right there. So in this case, we're just gonna keep it unrounded, but yes, it's roughly $1. Okay. All right. So again, this one right? When we purchased it, we end up getting a partial refund to it. So this is the adjusted and new amount that I'm looking for, my goods available. So let's see what happened next. On August 10, we end up purchasing another 750 toys at $1.25 with a freight of 45. So 750, 125, and 45 for the freight.
Okay. The purchase price is 937.50.
Plus the freight of 45.
$982.50.
Okay. So what's my cost per item now?
$1.31.
$1.31, and this one actually went in even. All right, awesome. So let's see what happened next. Then on August 11, you end up returning 50 broken toys for a full refund. So you actually returned the product here. You returned 50 of them because they were broken. Okay? So in this case, I'm getting a full refund on this. So here, I'm recording, I'm returning 50 of them. At what unit price did I originally purchase them at?
125.
$1.25. So what is going to be my total refund here?
62.50.
$62.50. So therefore now I need to adjust my amounts here because now I no longer have 750. I only have
700.
700. And I need to adjust my total cost here because I no longer owe $882.50. How much do I owe now? Now that I got a refund for $62.50. $920. So again, now this time I have a new quantity and a new total cost. So I need to take my 920 and divide it evenly through my 700 units. So in this case, my cost per item will definitely change. Okay. It'll drop to $1.314. So actually an increase because again, more cost is being distributed over smaller amounts of quantity. Okay. So it's 1.3142857, right? Okay. So let's see what happened next. Next, on August 20th, we end up purchasing 400 units at $1.50 with a freight of 25. So 400 at $1.50 with a freight of 25.
Okay, purchase price was 600. Plus the 25 gives you 625.
Good.
And
1.562500.
Good. Now, this one is also one of their dangerous kinds of cents as well, because in this case, if you actually take a look at it, it's 1.56 and a quarter of a penny. So in this case, you definitely want to be careful with this because when you're dealing with a quarter of a penny, half a penny, was it 3/4 of a penny, it can cause you to do a lot of harm. You can create invisible pennies just from this as well. So those are the ones that you want to be very, very careful with. Where the other numbers that are like 0.6666666 or 0.33333, those ones are a little more easier because, again, those can be rounded to much more easily roundable. Where these ones can cause you trouble. Right. Okay, so that's that one right there. So let's see what happened next. Then August 25th, we end up purchasing 600 toys at $1.75 with the freight costing you $30. Okay, so in this case, we have no returns for my purchase that I made on the 20th, but we still have to record that on the 25th, we end up purchasing 600 units at $1.75 with the freight of $30.
Okay, purchase price is $1,050. And total cost is $1,080.
Good.
And that would give us $1.80 cost per item.
Awesome. Okay. So then now, since we know that this third batch of inventory that we purchased, right, there was no changes to it, I'm going to go ahead and plug it into my goods available because that's going to be inventory that we actually have on hand. Okay. So I'm going to copy everything, including the cost per item here. $6.25. And then I'll just drag my formula down. Okay. All right. Okay. And then let's see what happens next. August 26th, you end up returning 25 defective toys for a full refund. Okay, so this time you end up actually testing the product and they don't work. So you call the vendor and you ask for a full refund on 25 toys. Okay. So you're returning for sure 25. What was my original unit price that I purchased for this batch of inventory?
175.
Yes, so the assumption is that, again, any return is usually going to be within the first couple days of your last purchase, right? Because the first rule of thumb is you're always, as soon as you receive the inventory, your job is to open up every single box to check for number one, if the vendor sent you the correct product, but also sent you the correct amount. Okay, you're going to compare it to your purchase order or whatever that you are being invoiced. And then you're going to, number three, check the quality, check in case you have broken products, etc., etc., right? That's just the rule of being an inventory manager. So usually the returns really will fall shortly, a couple days between. Okay. All right, so it's going to be $1.75. So what is going to be my total refund here?
$43.75.
$43.75. So in this case, I no longer have 600 units because I end up returning 25 of them. So I should have 575, right? And then I no longer owe 1080, right? Because I end up getting a refund for $43.75. So in this case, I now owe $1036.25 for this batch of inventory, And now my cost has increased by 0.21739. Okay. All right, so those are my 4 batches of inventory. Only 3 of them were affected. Right. So let me see what else happened. Then, by August 31st, you had a grand total of 1,500 toys on hand. So that means I reached the end of my accounting cycle. So this is August 31st. I have 1,500 toys left. So therefore, I need to calculate all my sums. So in this case, I'm going to calculate all of my totals here. I'm also going to calculate my total goods available as well as my total refund. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with all the totals. So start with this. How many units did I purchase in grand total?
2410.
Let's do it again. 1,200 plus 400 is 1,600 plus 600. Are you doing the goods available? Maybe?
Hold on.
29.50. Yeah, it should be 29.50. Okay. What's my total purchase price? Right, 1,200 plus 937.50 plus 600 plus 12.50.
3,787.50.
Good. And then what is my total freight?
150.
Okay, 150, and then your total cost should be $3,937.50. Okay. All right. So then let's go ahead and solve for my goods available and then my returns. Okay. So in this case, how many goods do I have available?
2,875.
Yes, that's what I got to. All right, and then I'll go ahead and solve this for you here by dragging my formula over. So you should be at a total of $3,791.25. Okay. Now, how many units did you return?
75.
You got a total of 75 units. What was your total amount of refund?
146.25.
146.25. Okay. So now, since we tallied up all of our totals, we can now go ahead and plug in all of our answers here now. Okay, starting with the first one here, we got 12, we got 2,950 units at a grand total of $3,787.50. Did we have any refunds? Yes, we did. We end up returning 75 units at a total cost of $146.25. So therefore, right, our formula here for the subtotal is you're going to subtract these two numbers, right? Because returns and allowances reduce your purchases. So in this case, I now have 2875 at a new total subtotal of $3,641.25. Okay. Freight adds 0 to quantity, but it adds to the total cost. So here I should be adding these two numbers together to get me my grand total to be exactly what my goods available is, right? The reason why here my goods available matches my goods available is because, or my net purchases matches my goods available is because I don't have beginning inventory. So that means when I go ahead and drag down my formula down here, if I don't have beginning inventory, my net purchases becomes my goods available, right? So there you go. All right. So now here is what we have to do, right? If I know that I have 1,200 units on hand, okay? Excuse me, 1,500 units on hand. My assumption is I must have sold a grand total of how many units? Okay. Here I started out with 2,875 units, and I only now
1,003, sorry,
go ahead.
1,375.
Excellent, right? So that's my total number here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to solve for my total cost of goods sold using the rules of LIFO. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and build a table down here. I'll build it right here. Okay. I'm going to call this my cost of goods sold. Okay. I'm going to make sure I have my running balance here. So I know when I'm calculating, I know exactly how many units I need to be having here. And at the same time, it's going to automatically calculate how much my total cost is going to be. Okay. So using the rules of LIFO, which batch am I going to take from first or sell from first?
The 575.
The 575, right? Because we're doing LIFO, last in, first out, right? In this case, I'm going to be taking out all of it, which is going to cost me $1036.25. So in this case, no calculation necessary. So I sold my first 575 units. I need to get to 1375. So how many more should I keep selling? So which batch of inventory am I going to dip into next?
400.
400. So in this case, I'm going to take all of it once again. No calculation necessary here because I'm taking all of it. So I'm at 975. Now, I have two more batches of inventory left, 1,200 and then 700. So in this case, right, let's go ahead and calculate what I need. I need to get a grand total of 1,375, and right now I currently have 975 sold. So how many more do I need to keep selling? I need to sell exactly 400 more. Now in this case, which batch of inventory am I going to dip into next?
700.
The 700, right? Now in this case, am I taking all of it or some of it? Some. So in this case, I have to do a calculation. So this is where I'm going to be using my equal round here because this number right here is 1.314 42857. That's a lot of mumbo jumbo. So in this case, I want to go ahead and calculate it, but my end number is going to be rounded off by the nearest penny. So in this case, I do my equal round, okay? I want 400 multiplied by 1.3142857. I'm going to end my argument with a comma, and I want it to 2 decimal places, which is rounding to the nearest penny. So in this case, how much is my total cost of goods sold if I sold 400 units at the 1.314?
525.71.
525.71 cents. Okay. So there you go. Now I got a grand total of my 1375 units at a grand total cost of $2,186.96. Right? And I can go ahead and build my table here for my ending balance here. Okay. Ending balance or ending inventory, whatever you want to call it, they mean the same thing. Okay. So I know for a fact I should have my 1,200 units, but out of the 700, right, I sold 400. So I should have 300 units left. Okay. Okay, so if I go ahead and do my equal sum here, I should have a grand total of the 1,500 units at a grand total cost of $1,604.29. Right? Or I can just simply calculate my goods available minus my cost of goods sold and get the same exact answer. I just want to make sure that when I do my ending inventory, I know exactly how much to transfer over into my next inventory worksheet. Okay. Awesome. So there you go. There's the second method that we learned, right? And we were able to calculate it like this. Okay. So now question number 6 asks to journalize the conversion entry. So what am I going to need to include in my journal? Right? It is now August 31st. What do I need to recognize in my conversion entry?
Can you go back to the last screen real quick? I think I have a question.
All right. Yes.
For the ending inventory, the $1,210 and the $394.29.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do the round formula for both of those?
Okay, so in this case, this one, no, I just copied it directly down here because it's already been calculated for me.
Okay.
I've only done the equal round in this formula.
For that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the 1604 is the total of both of those. Okay.
Correct.
That was all. That was it.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you'd be able to solve the same exact answer. You didn't have to do the ending inventory table, but like I said, I only do it because now I know exactly how to transfer over into my new inventory worksheet.
Okay.
But also showing you too that you're able to solve the ending inventory at first if you wanted to. So in this case, if you're already picking up understanding how LIFO works, right? We start from the bottom and make our way up to the top. You can take a shortcut. Instead of going to solve for your cost of goods sold, you can start by solving for your ending inventory, right? You can solve for your ending inventory because if you know that you're going to start from the bottom and slowly make your way up to the top, you know at the end of the day, your 1,500 units is probably going to be somewhere from the top of the inventory, right? You know the 1,200 is going to come derived from the top batch. And then, of course, added that 700, you could just calculate whatever equals to the 1,500. You'd be able to solve for the ending inventory first and then calculate your cost of goods sold the same way. All right? So you could do either or. Right? Okay. No. So what do I recognize in my conversion entry?
It would be purchase expense.
That's not going to come first, but that is definitely something that you are going to have. Okay. What else am I going to recognize for my conversion entry?
Freight expense.
Purchase expense, freight expense. What else?
Accounts payable.
Not accounts payable. Okay, so remember, we're not purchasing inventory. We're doing the conversion entry. We already reached the end of the accounting period. Now I need to convert it into inventory, right? That's the purpose of a conversion entry.
Cost of goods sold.
Cost of goods sold. Yes. What else? Toys. Yes, in this. Yes. So in this case, cost of goods sold. We have toys instead of inventory because in this case, we know the specific product that we purchased. And we're going to need to put in that purchase returns and allowances, right? Because that's what reduced my inventory. Okay. So starting with the first one, what was the total value of my ending inventory?
$1,604.29.
Good. What was my total value of my cost of goods sold?
$2,186.96.
Good. And then let's see, what was my total returns and allowances?
$146.25.
Yeah, 146.25. What was my total net purchases? I'm sorry, my total purchases, just the purchases.
It was
3,787.50.
Yes, and my total freight?
150.
Good. So again, before I end my journal here, I'm going to double confirm that my total debits equal my total credit. So I got $3,937.50 on my left, and I got $3,937.50 on the right. So in this case, yes, my journals, my debits and credits do match. So in this case, complete your journal with a description saying that this is a conversion entry. Okay, for periodic inventory. And of course, you can add in details such as your ending balance. Your ending balance had 1,500 toys left. You sold 1,375 toys and returned 75 toys. Okay. Okay. There you go. Awesome. So let's see what happens when you have to deal with beginning inventory. Okay. So let's go back to the scenario here. Scenario says now for question number 7, continue the inventory from question number 5. Your inventory method is still periodic, and this time it's still LIFO. Now it says right here on August 31st, you had a total of 1,500 toys on hand. So that's true, right? We already solved it in our inventory worksheet, right? In question 5. So this is what we have to do. The exact order that we have our ending inventory, we're going to carry it over into our new inventory worksheet. That means I'm going to go ahead and carry over my 1,200 and carry over my 300 units exactly in that order, okay? Because again, think of it like you're selling the iPhones, right? You have 1,200 left of the iPhone 10 or 11, whatever, right? And then you have 300 left of the iPhone 12. You have to keep those exactly the way they are. Right? You can't combine them and call it a day and be like, okay, this is my beginning inventory. No, you have to keep them separate. Okay? So in this case, now I can go ahead and copy and paste this over into my new inventory worksheet. So again, I had 1,200 and my 300. Okay. Okay. All right. Maybe I should go back to that exact one. And I'm going to go ahead and also tally up my total here down below. Okay, so equal sum here of my 1,500 units at a grand total of that's 1604.29. Okay. So now we may begin our purchases. So here it tells us on September 5th that we end up purchasing 650 toys at $1.65 with a freight of 25. Okay, so 650 at $1.65 with a freight of 25. Okay. So in this case, what is my purchase price? So 650 times $1.65.
$1,072.50.
Okay. Plus my 25. Right, we'll give you 1097.50. Now in this case, we need to solve for my cost per item here. Okay. So I should get $1,68846. Okay. All right, before I continue on, I'm going to build my goods available table. Because as part of my goods available, my beginning inventory is going to automatically transfer into my goods available because it is my beginning inventory, right? So I'm going to have to go ahead and copy all that down into my goods available here. Okay? Because this is going to act as if this was my first couple purchases that I've made, right? Okay. All right. Now, in this case, the purchase that I made, I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to put it into my goods available yet because I have to see if I'm going to be returning anything from these products. They're not for surely. This isn't going to be the end of the transaction, right? We need to determine whether we are going to make a return on a product or not. So in this case, right, we end up seeing that on September 10, you end up purchasing a brand new batch of 1,000 toys at $1.80 with a freight of $40. So in this case, yes, we end up keeping all 650 units. So in this case, I need to go ahead and put in September 10 that 1,000 units were purchased at $1.80 with a freight of $40. Right, so my purchase price here is
1,080.
8,800 plus 40,
1840.
1840, and then my cost per item is going to be $1.84. So in this case, this one will go through in evenly. So now that I confirmed that the purchase on September 5th is we're keeping all of it, no changes are necessarily made here, I can go ahead and copy everything down from this transaction. Okay. That's too many numbers. I don't like it. There you go. All right. Okay. So let's see what happens next. Then September 12th rolls around and you returned 50 defective toys for a full refund. So in this case, you end up returning 50 defective toys. Okay. So here we go, returns and allowances. You end up returning 50 of them. At what unit price?
180.
$1.80. So what is your total refund here?
90.
$90. So therefore, I need to now adjust my inventory because I no longer have the purchase of 1,000 units. I end up returning 50 of them. So I should have 950 units. Now in this case, I end up getting a refund. So I no longer owe $18.40. I end up getting a $90 refund. So I owe now $17.50. Okay. $17.50 divided by $9.50 will roughly give you $1.842105. Okay. So then let's see what happened next. September 20th, okay, you end up purchasing 500 toys at $1.85. Okay, and you had a freight cost of $20. So 500 toys at $1.85 with a freight of $20. 500, 185, 20. Okay, so purchase price,
$9.25.
$9.25 plus $20. Was it $20?
$9.45. Yeah.
Yeah, $20. Okay. Which should roughly give you $1.89 per item. Okay. So then September 22nd, you end up returning 100 toys the wrong color and you didn't want any discount. You wanted a full refund. So in this case, you're going to return 100 toys. They were the wrong color and you're not willing to accept anything, so you want a full refund. So you return 100 items at what unit price?
$1.85.
$1.85. So therefore, your total refund is $185. So therefore, I need to adjust this inventory, right? Because I no longer purchased 500 units anymore. I end up refunding 100 of them. So I actually only purchased 400. And because I got a full refund on it, I no longer owe $9.45, right? Because I end up getting a $185 refund. So now I owe $7.60. Okay, yeah, $7.60. Right? Which actually will round you to an even more even number to $1.90 each. So not bad. Okay. Lastly, on September 25th, we end up purchasing 100 units, 100 toys at $1.75 with the freight costing $5. Okay. So 100 toys at $1.75 with a freight of $5. And then right here, you automatically can see here that on September 30th, you end up having 750 toys left on hand. So in this case, that means the batch that we purchased here on September 25th, nothing was wrong with that one. So we're able to just go ahead and transfer that amount over into our inventory. Okay. So you had it at $1.75, made it $175. Your freight was $5, so that was $1.80. Divide that by 100, it's $1.80. So again, we can pop that into our inventory on hand or goods available. Okay, so now I have 2, 4, 6 batches of inventory that I can choose from to calculate my total cost of goods sold. Okay. So now that I reached the end of my accounting cycle here, period here, I ended on September 30th with a total of 750 toys on hand. So that's something I'm going to note in here, that I have a total of 750 units. Okay. So again, let's go ahead and tally up your totals here. So I'm going to go ahead and also tally up my goods available. Okay. So let's start with the very beginning here. How many items did I purchase in grand total? So 850 plus 1,000 plus 500 plus 100.
2250.
2250. Okay. What was my total purchase price? Okay. That gave us $3,972.50. Okay. My freight, 90. And then that will give you your total cost of $4,052.50. Or $62.50. Excuse me. All right, so now that I have that, I also need to solve for down below what my total goods available is going to be now. So in this case, if you want to do easy, quick math, you could do 12 or 2250 plus your 1500. So 1500 plus 2250 should give you
3600.
3600. And I'll go ahead and do the math for you over here. Okay. Should give you a grand total of $5,391.79. Okay. Plus, what was your total amount of refunds? 150. For a grand total cost of $207.5. Okay. So now that we have all of our numbers solved here, let's go ahead and plug it into our inventory worksheet. Okay, so I got 2250 at 3,972.50. My total refunds, I end up returning 150 toys at a total refund of $275. So that should reduce your purchases down to 2,100 units at a grand total of $3,697.50. Freight adds 0 to quantity, but it does add to the total cost. So you're adding $90 here for the shipping cost. So you're at 2,100 units at a grand total of $3,787.50. Okay. Do we have beginning inventory? Yes, we do,
Yes.
right? We carried it over the 1,500 at the 1,604. Okay. We're going to carry down our net purchases of that 2,100 at that 3,787.50. And what we're going to do is we're going to simply add them up together. So again, 15 plus 21 gives you 36. Okay, we add these two up together. You get a grand total of $5,391.70, which matches your goods available, and of course, because this is your goods available. So again, this is now your new inventory, right? This is what you have available to sell, so you don't have to look up here anymore. You can only focus on, you don't have to look up there. You could just focus on the bottom half here. Okay? So this is all of the items that you have available to sell. So in this case, right, if I had a grand total of 750 units left on hand, my assumption is I must have sold a grand total of
2850.
2850. Good. So I need to solve for my 2850 that I have sold. So let me go ahead and build my table here as my cost of goods sold. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Okay, so I need to insert one more. Okay, there you go. Okay, so let me go ahead and run my formula here to get my equal sums here. Okay, so equal sum. Okay. And so let's go ahead and go through all the batches of inventory and sell them one at a time. So in this case, if I'm using LIFO, which batch of inventory am I going to sell from first?
The last one.
The last one of 100 at $1.80, which gave us a total of 180. Okay. That was only 100. I need to sell a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and start eliminating the next one, which is 400 at 760. Okay, so I've sold my first 500. I need to get to 2,850 units. So a long way I have to keep going. So in this case, next batch, 950 is next. Okay. I'm also going to eliminate the 650. Okay. So I'm at 2,100. What else do I have to do? I'm going to do another 300. Okay, so I'm at 2,400. So let's do the math. 2,850 minus 2,400. I need to sell 450 units. In this case, I only got one batch of inventory left. Okay, so this one, I need to do a calculation here. Because in this case, I sold everything that I purchased. Okay, so all of these numbers are just going to be copied into your worksheet here, or at this bottom half right here, because we already know we're going to be taking all of them out anyways. So 950, this one is the 6, and then this one's the 300. Okay. So therefore, I have to do an equal round formula. So what's my total cost of goods sold if I sold 450 units at $1.833333?
Okay, the 450 was taken out of the 1200, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So in this case, if you were looking at your ending balance of inventory here, right? You mentioned the 1200 and we took 450 out of it. So you should be left with 750 exactly. All right, and we know that 750 is that dollar 0.83333. So you can also run your formula here as well. Okay. So in this case, you got a grand total of 4,635 54, and then you would have had a leftover remaining of this, or in this case. Now, if you already knew, right, there's also another extra shortcut here. If you already knew that your whole entire purchases was 2,250 units, you could have simply just taken that 2250 and at the grand total of that, or I'm sorry, rewind. Going back here at the 3,600, right? If you know your net purchases was 2,100 units at $3,787.50, you could have taken that immediately and just knew that, okay, that means I have 650 units left to sell. You could have easily done that as well. You didn't have to go through all of this because at the end of the day, all your net purchases are pretty much going to be gone, right? And all you have to do is now dip into your beginning inventory that you carried on from your previous one. It doesn't matter how you solve it. At the end of the day, as long as your answers match my answers, then that is correct. So if you can solve to do it quicker instead of having to go through every single batch of inventory one at a time, again, I only do this because that is what LIFO does. You're slowly going to take the inventory out one at a time, okay? And you're going to calculate it one at a time. But again, if you can figure it out a much more easier, like for instance, ending inventory, you know that your ending inventory is 750 units, right? You already know that the first batch of inventory that you have, that you carried over from the beginning inventory, is 1,200 units. That's definitely going to cover all 750 units. So right then and there, boom, I could have easily solved for my ending inventory and just automatically subtract the two numbers to get my total cost of goods sold. Yes, you could have solved it that way as well. Right? Okay, awesome. So now that I solved for my inventory worksheet, we can now go ahead and solve and plug in my conversion entry. Okay. So how should my conversion entry look?
Toys,
Toys. What else?
cost of goods sold,
Cost of goods sold. What else?
uh, purchase expense,
Purchase expense.
freight expense,
Freight expense. Okay. So I can just go ahead and copy this and paste it into this one right here, because it's the same exact transaction. Now, what's the only difference here? Is this all that I'm going to be recognizing?
We got the purchase returns and allowances.
We already have that there.
Okay.
What else am I missing anything?
Oh, the beginning inventory.
Beginning inventory. Excellent. So therefore, it's going to be a credit always. Beginning inventory is always going to be credited, okay?
Okay.
Because in this case, right, what do we do? We're going to be combining everything together for us to sell, right?
All right.
So there you go. All right, so let's plug in our numbers, starting with the ending balance in our inventory. So what was the ending balance?
756.25.
Good. What was my total cost of goods sold?
4,635.
Good. Mm-hmm. What was my total purchase returns and allowances? 275. My total purchases, my purchase price?
3,972.50.
My total freight?
90.
And last but not least, what was the total balance of my beginning inventory?
3,787.50.
That's your net
Oh,
purchases.
3,697.50.
That's your subtotal. Beginning inventory, what was it?
1604.20.
There we go, good. 1604.29. So let's do our math real quick and then we will complete the journal description. So I got 5,666.79 on the left, 5,667.9 on the right. So in this case, awesome. We completed our journal correctly. So conversion entry for periodic inventory. All right. Ending balance was 750 toys. We sold 2,850 toys. And we returned 150 toys. Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. So any questions so far for FIFO?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, LIFO. LIFO, right? So in this case,
Yes.
we took from the bottom, made our way up to the top. Okay? Introduced you to what happens when you have purchase returns and allowances and what happens when you have beginning inventory. Okay? So I'm going to stop here for